Good evening, my loves. Welcome to this week's coaching gem here on Destination Deanna. I am your host, the love guide, Deanna. I'm so excited to be here. Tonight's topic is, it's so near and dear to my heart. You know that a big part of my mission is to improve the marital rate in the Black community, but not just for the sake of being married, but making sure that we actually have quality marriages and relationships. So I'm so glad that you're here. Oh, look at my baby, front and center. Front and center. Make sure that you're granting StreamYard access so that I can see your name on the screen. Hey, honey. Hello, good evening. I'm so glad to have you here. So yeah, let's get right to business. Please support the YouTube channel, right? It's free. Remember to like, leave a comment, share with your friends, and obviously be subscribed. But tonight, our topic is don't get married until, right? So we are going to talk about what are the top 3 things you should do before saying I do, right? And as I start every week off, hey, Goddess Sister Pamela checking in. Oh my goodness, Kelly, how are you, honey? So as I do every week, I start off by telling you what my intention is, right? So I know that there's a lot of talk about like big weddings and what we're spending on weddings and how women are so focused on the weddings and not the marriage. Well, my intention is to provide a few important tips to properly prepare you for marriage. So I'm going to give you the top 3 things that I recommend that you do before you actually go through with a wedding. Now, what I'm not doing, let's also be very clear about that. I'm not saying you shouldn't have a big wedding. I wouldn't call it a big wedding, but I had a luxurious wedding in Paris. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having an amazing wedding. You should have one. You're celebrating your lifelong love. But we're just saying that there are some things you should do before you do that. Okay? And let's see. Hey, love it. I'm so glad you guys are here. All right. So the top 3 things that you should do before saying I do. Here's where you'll want to get out your notes if you're taking notes. Okay? Number 1. Get your own ish together. I know that it seems like counterintuitive, right? I shouldn't have to say this, but the amount of people that go into sharing a life with someone where they are not properly prepared themselves is astonishing. So let me be very clear about what get your own ish together means. It means financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically, right? So financially, not saying that you can't have any debt, not saying that you have to have a whole bunch of money saved up, but at the very least, you should know where you are financially. You should know your credit score. You should know how much you have in debt. You should know how much you have in savings. You should, at the very least, know all of this information so that you can communicate it. And I would say take that a step further and be working on improving if you're not at a satisfactory place financially. You should already be in a place where you're doing that for yourself. You're not waiting for someone to come into your life and fix everything, right? Then emotionally, you should be doing the work to address any issues you might have emotionally. That's trust issues, insecurities, lingering feelings from previous relationships, anything like that is emotionally going on with you. You should be taking the time to address those things. Yes, and I'm getting the prayer hands because I'm sure you all are agreeing with this. So yes, you should be taking the time to address those things. Spiritually, are you connected with God? What faith do you believe in? Where do you stand? Do you go to church regularly? Do you read the Bible? Do you read the Torah? What do you believe in? Right? So that you can tell a person, what that is. So you can see if there's alignment, right? And then physically, not saying you have to be in perfect physical shape, right? But I think at the very least, you should be confident, right? You should be feeling good about how you look. And there's nothing wrong with loving yourself as you are while you're improving on it. So that's what I mean by physically. Hey, Shaka, checking in. Manda's here. Panda, hey. All my love attraction community is here front and center. Yes, honey, tell them. That's being responsible and accountable to you first. Absolutely. How are you going to be a part of a partnership if you haven't done your due diligence on yourself first, right? So to summarize all of get your own ish together, don't wait until you've combined your life with someone else to want to get things right. You should, at the very least, know where you stand and already be on a path to improving it and getting better, right? Without a person. So you want to make sure that you're doing this. So number one is get your own ish together. Ooh, love the lip. It's a special night. So I did more than lip gloss for y'all. Glad you like it. And number two, let's go ahead and get right to that. Discuss expectations, right? And this is an entire gambit of things, but in general, from working with lots of couples doing premarital work, I'm going to tell you down the line, many issues arise because of unsaid expectations. And if an expectation is unsaid, obviously it's going to go unmet. You didn't say it. So it's so important to have these conversations up front. Now let's talk about what areas you should have. Yes, truth. Brianna's here too. The entire love attraction community is checking in. I love y'all. I'm so glad you're here. So discuss expectations. What categories are we talking about? What should you discuss exactly? You should discuss chores, right? What chores do you hate? What chores do you enjoy? You can avoid a lot of disagreement and things later if you just talk about those things up front. Responsibilities and roles. What do you expect of a husband? What do you expect of a wife? That way, if the person is not naturally equipped to do that, you can have the discussions around, hey, can we get some coaching for that? Or is that a non-negotiable? Which is another thing you should discuss. Also, like the future of your family. Do you want more children? Do you want children, period? Do you want to stay in the state that you're in? Do you want to move somewhere else? Do you want to be a stay-at-home mom or a wife of leisure like myself? Like, you need to discuss these things. You need to discuss intimacy. What does that look like? I remember me and my husband. Oh, I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this. I'm going to say this in the most politest way. Me and my husband actually had a discussion about how many times a week we would want it. And I thought this was so important because there are so many couples that the wife wants one thing, the husband wants another, and neither of them know. And both of them are frustrated in a way. So we discussed where we were and where as a couple we could meet in the middle and both be satisfied without feeling resentful, without feeling like we're not getting enough. And it involved both of us giving and taking, right? So we both had to give in some areas to figure out, like, as a couple, where do we land? What's an expectation for, our general, like, how many times are we going to be intimate during a week? Now, it's not a hard rule, But I'll tell you this, if you know your husband wants to have, intimate time with you 5 days a week, let's just say, right? And you really only want to do it 2. You know that you need to at least do 3 or 4. Y'all need to meet somewhere. So guess what? The husband is going to know that he needs to maybe work a little bit harder to get you up to the 3, 4. You know that you're going to have to put in the effort to want that. Like, figure out ways to want that. Figure out ways to make sure he's pleased without it going against what you want. You see? So it's a give and take. And I'm sorry, let me get to the comments. Y'all are going in. Hey, Facebook user, I'm sorry, I can't see who you are. I'll see it later in the group, I'm sure. Kalandra, hey, I'm so glad you made it. Thank you so much. Right. Nah, the chore talk is overlooked. I know it is. That's why I brought it up. It's the small things that really eat away and kind of corrode at relationships. It isn't the big things. People are making it past the big things. Let's see. The how many times talk gotta be had. Yes, it does. And I'm telling you, it's not as hard as people might think. It actually takes a lot of pressure off of you, and it gives you a space to land when things aren't happening, right? So let's say you guys land on 3 with sometimes 4, right? But you understand that if it's a hard week and she really ain't feeling it, there can be an occasional 2, right? You've had these discussions. But then you have a week where it's only 1. You might let it slide 1 week, but the second week you have every right to say, hey, what's going on? Like, we talked about this and we kind of agreed, and I want you. What's up? And you have every right to do that because it's not a surprise. It is an expectation that has already been set. Oh, and especially for age differences. And let me tell you, age difference, what they be saying about older men is not true. They listen. Let me be quiet. One of our best conversations, ours too. We had a good time discussing everything that went along with that, especially the end of the convo. Absolutely. You can seal the deal that night. You know what we talked about? So yeah, right? Discuss the expectations, right? So chores, roles, responsibilities, intimacy, your non-negotiables. You should talk about these things. Talk about the things that could happen. Now, I'm not saying, let me be very clear about this, because I don't advocate negative talk. I don't advocate spending a lot of time or energy on things you don't want, right? I advocate for spending all the time in the world architecting your life exactly how you want it to be. So talking about all of the wonderful things you want to experience as a couple. But in this case, when you're discussing expectations, you certainly should have a conversation about things that you know for sure could almost guarantee not being able to come back from, right? You don't have to harp on it, but you could say, hey, I'm really insecure. I have been insecure about the way I look. So I am in no way going to ever tolerate someone demeaning me or talking down about my presence, my physical presence. I can't take it. I've worked too much on myself, whatever. See, I'm giving you a tangible example, right? For someone, if it's cheating, saying that, like, listen, this is what cheating is to me. It is not just this. It includes all of this. And I have no plans of working through that. Like, by all means, you should have these conversations and be very clear about them. Great list so far. Thank you. Oh, my mommy's on. Hi, mommy. You tried to call me right before I was getting ready. I'll call you after. Kalandra, you laughing? I'm glad I got y'all laughing. No gaslighting. Absolutely not. We don't play that. Y'all having your own conversation. I love it. One big family here. So really, you want to discuss the expectations because you want to avoid surprising your spouse, right? You want to avoid having to deal with these things later after you've already made the commitment. You don't want to do that. I have no plans on working through that. Listen, when you've been through some ish, you get real clear about things, okay? So yes, let's get to number 3, right? Number 3, get premarital preparation with a professional. Your mama ain't enough. Your homegirl ain't enough. Your homeboy ain't enough. You need to get premarital preparation with a professional. When I say professional, this is what I mean, right? I'm sorry, hold on. A professional, I mean a neutral third party to objectively help you prepare. So this could be a pastor, clergyman, someone from your faith. It could be a therapist. It could be a relationship or life coach that has experience with couples. It has to be someone who's had that experience, right? I recommend that they're married. This is the one area I always say, like, a broken clock can be right twice a day. This is not the area where I would say anyone could teach or help it. It needs to be someone that is actually living this out, that has actually had to do this. It can even be someone who is divorced, but they have had to have went through the process of being married. Okay, that is important. And I'm not holding back on that. And what I would recommend when you are doing premarital preparation, there's a few things that should be included in the course or the program that they're offering. These are the 3 things that I recommend in premarital preparation because they're the main things that people get couples coaching for after. So if you're trying to prepare, you want to do the things ahead of time before you need them, right? So the things that should be included are conflict resolution, right? There's going to be conflict. You can guarantee it. At some point, there will be conflict. And the couples that make it through and they last and they're actually happy and in a loving, fulfilling relationship, they're the couples that have learned how to deal with conflict. They're not the couples that don't have it, because every couple has it. But they are the couples that have learned to speak to each other with respect. They've learned how to forgive each other. They've learned how to take space to cool down and speak about things when it's a better time. They've learned how to not let things linger. They've learned a lot of things in regards to conflict resolution. So that definitely needs to be in your premarital preparation. And I see some comments are coming in, so I don't want to let them build up too much. Y'all be saying some good stuff. Okay, Kelly saying facts. Amen. Yes. Damn, the barbershop won't do. The barbershop is good for, I would say, maybe level setting, right? Talking with the married men in there. I know there's some OGs that be in the barbershop and they probably can give you some game. So I do think it's good for you to get out like your fears, talk with other men about what they did to overcome certain scenarios and prepare. I think that's fine, but don't rely on it. Don't rely on it. And I see Kalandra said, talking about how to deal with an unexpected setback. What does resilience mean to each person? Absolutely. That's actually a part of my bonus tip tonight too. So that's a good one, Kalandra. The other thing to make sure that you have financial planning. You need to have conversations about finances. So you need to know, like, is one person a spender? Is one person a saver? Does one person just have no idea how things get paid for? Does one person like not believe in allocating money for certain things? you need to have the conversations about how you view money, right? And how you're going to handle it once you're a couple, because there may be one way that you handled money when you were single that doesn't work when you're married, right? So having these conversations, are you going to have joint accounts? Are you going to have separate accounts? Are you going to be heavy on saving for retirement, or are you going to be heavy on like big investments now to try to live it up now? Are you going to be homeowners? Are you going to be renters? Like talking about these things to see where you don't have to always be totally in agreement. You could have different ideas about things. However, you need to be able to talk about them and know where your partner is, so you know where there's more education needed, there's more grace needed, there's more compromise and working together needed as well. Yeah, great question. It was a great question. Yeah. Are these organic conversations, or do they happen at a specific time? So these specifically are conversations that I recommend happening with a professional, because the goal of having these conversations is really to have a plan for your relationship, right? This is all preparing for marriage. So when you're meeting with a professional, you're not just gonna yap. No, you guys are going to talk, but with a purpose, and you're going to leave with a plan or further action items. If you guys weren't able to come into agreement, you're going to have some assignments and things to do so you can further delve into the topic. So these are all things I recommend you're doing with a professional. Now they could lead to other organic conversations at home, and I'm certainly not saying that you can only have these conversations with a professional. Sure. Like when Will and I did premarital preparation, our coach was like, yo, y'all are good, because almost everything she brought up with us, we had talked about already. We were clear about what we needed to do. We were clear about what areas needed further exploration. So we had talked about a lot of the things. It is kind of like a yellow flag, like maybe slow down. If you get into premarital preparation and you're shocked when things start coming up, if you're shocked at a person's answers, or you guys are so different, that means you may not have spent enough time on the important things. So that's a good question, Shaka. Thank you. So, if you are in the process of planning and you're getting married, Will and I actually have a premarital preparation course, and we lead it together. So a couple will get the female perspective, the male perspective, support from both of us. It's fun. We have a good time. So if you know anyone that is in need of a coach or a program before they get married, please refer them our way. They can go to destinationdeanna.com and look under our services, and they'll see it there. So those were the 3 tips, right? Number 1 was get your own ish together. That means take the time to evaluate yourself. You need to at least know where you are, financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically, and be starting the work to work on yourself and improve yourself. Number 2, you need to be upfront and discuss expectations. Expectations about responsibilities, roles, chores, intimacy, parenting, your future as a family, your non-negotiables. You need to discuss these expectations. They should not be happening after the wedding. And number 3, get premarital preparation with a professional. And honestly, I would recommend you do that before you set a date. Because what if some things come out that have you questioning whether or not you guys should move forward at this time or at all? You don't want to have to be canceling things or losing out on money. So it would probably be best to get the premarital preparation with a professional before you set the date. And I love you guys so much. I'm going to throw in a bonus tip. So those were my top 3. at least go there. But my bonus tip is you need to discuss and create a growth plan. And what this means is you need to know where you all are going, right? You need to know where you're going, and you need to have a basic plan about how you're going to get there. What are some of the steps, right? So that you can have something to be working towards. I will tell you, the couples that are happier, that are more successful in marriage, they're ones that are jointly working towards something, whether it's running a business together, whether it's having a successful family, putting their kids in private school, or, having properties to give their kids, or whatever it is, whatever they want to do, whatever they've decided, whatever they're working towards, it gives them something to focus on. But a part of a growth plan is also discussing how to handle setbacks and life changes, right? Life can happen. One of you could get sick. One of you could lose a family member. There could be a tragedy. You can't imagine every possible scenario. But what you could do is talk about some common things. Like one of the things my husband and I talked about was our belief system on parents, elderly parents as they age. Do they live with us? Do they not? Adult children, how long are they able to, we had these conversations because a lot of these things happen and it tears couples apart. One person doesn't agree. Yo, the kids, they got to get out of here. I wanted you to myself. I'm trying to get back to it. The other parent is holding on, letting them not be responsible or anything like that. It tears marriages apart. So if you can discuss some of these things up front and have a plan for it, have some agreement already in mind, when these things come up, they don't hit you as hard. So that is my bonus tip. And I did save some time for a little Q&A. If you guys have any particular questions about the things I covered, or just marital preparation in general, let me check the comments. The floor is yours. Shaka said, I will sign up when it comes to that. I don't like ambiguity. All right. That's the smart thing to do. And if a person doesn't want to do premarital preparation, that's a red flag to me. Let me just share with you guys. I volunteer myself as tribute, right? I've talked about this. I've been married before. I've had my YouTube channel since my previous marriage. So you can go back and you can see that I was talking about the same things. However, they were not present in that marriage. When I first did this video about the things you should do before you get married, I did it about 3 years ago, and I was already in my previous marriage. And I say in that video, we did not do those things. I say it. I say we did not do those things. And look at how that marriage worked out, right? So I'm telling you, from firsthand experience, I didn't do it the first time, even though I knew it should have been done. I spoke up. There was an agreement. He thought we didn't need it. We didn't do it. We didn't last. Now, I'm not saying we didn't last because we didn't do these things, but I'm saying we didn't have the best foundation. We didn't have all of the tools we needed, right? We didn't have it. So when life started happening, we were not equipped. We were not on the same page. And perhaps if we did prepare, we might have handled things differently. Now, I'm happy. I have an amazing husband now. Will, he's on the live. And when I discussed these things with Will, he had a similar list of what he thought we should do before we got married. I didn't have to convince him. It wasn't a hard sell. We both were in so much agreement about how we wanted to lay the foundation for our marriage. Yes, we were having an amazing wedding. Please check out my Paris Dream wedding trailer. It's amazing. But we knew that more than an amazing wedding, we needed to have a strong foundation that we planned for. Me and Will not only did premarital preparation in a course with a coach that does that, who also has a spiritual background, so we got 2 for 1. We also went to a marital conference where it was nothing but married couples, nothing but learning about how to make marriage work. We even did that. We did a number of things. We read books. We watched movies about it. We did so much to prepare. You can never be too prepared, right? So that's the difference, right? So I'm sorry, there's some questions. Let me get to them. And here's my husband now. Why is it not showing up? I'm sorry, honey. Non-negotiables when it comes to your vows is another important discussion to have. You don't want to be at the altar and the love, honor, and obey is said, and it causes that awkward moment. See, he's trying to call me out because I told him I wasn't saying for poorer. But he agreed. We don't say negative words like that. We didn't say nothing negative in our vows because we're not bringing that energy into our marriage. And look, we ain't had nothing negative. Not saying it won't happen, but it ain't gonna happen because we invited it. But there are plenty of people that they look shocked when a person like has a certain reaction. How do you grieve? How do you grieve? What do you need when you grieve is important to me. Ooh, that's another one. Supporting your spouse through death. That's huge. Like, how are you gonna support them when they might not even know how to act, right? When they're not being favorable, when they're not their best self, how are you going to handle that? Right? So that's a good question, Shaka. That is definitely a way to shake the walls and ceiling. Y'all are funny. Oh, wow. You're bringing the goods. Yep, absolutely. That is why it's important to do that with a married couple. Even if divorce was involved, that's invaluable advice. I'm telling you, like the number of coaches that I see out here, I'm not saying you can't know relationships. I'm not saying you can't have a good understanding of people or psychology. You can. I just do not believe that you should be coaching on getting married, premarital, being married if you ain't been married. I'm sorry. I don't think you should. And my husband agrees. Oh, yes. Blended families was a great part of that marriage conference. So we're a blended family, right? He has 2 children from his previous marriage. I had two children from my previous marriage. So together we have 4 children, and his children are adults. So my children are young. They were like toddlers when we met. So we had a lot of different dynamics going on with us that we needed to discuss. We had to discuss how we're going to go about merging as a family, how we're going to go about raising the 2 children that are still with us now. How are we going to handle this, right? So it was awesome for us to get the support at that marriage conference. Hey, Chantel, I didn't know you were on. That's a good point to leave out poorer. Girl. And I don't know if I have the full video, but the pastor was trying to make me say it. It was the funniest moment because everybody there knew I wasn't going to say it, except the pastor. He was trying to make me say it. Oh, Charles Maris is here. He is one half of the other duo, his amazing wife. They are also in ministry, and they give lots of great content and support for kingdom couples. If anybody is looking for like a kingdom aspect and you want coaching with that spiritual background, I recommend them. Oh, you're a witness to my past. Yes, to now see your present future shows God's way is the best successful way. Listen, I'm just saying the proof is in the pudding and that God is faithful. Yes, thank you so much, bro. I really appreciate that. We will continue to keep God first. Yes, amen. I agree as well. I'm sorry, I can't see your name. Yes. Yes, absolutely. So see, you all are aware of them. I'm glad. The pastor was my dad too, yo. Babe, is that you? Why is he? Okay. Because like, who else would say that? Oh, that's your sister. Okay. Is that Dawn? Yes. But you can attest to it. He was definitely trying to make me say it. So it's a good thing that Will wasn't surprised. We had already discussed it. But yes, if you guys don't have any further questions, this has been a great live. You all have been super interactive. I love it. So in closing, let me leave you with my coaching gem, right? Wedding planning is fun. And the wedding day should be a big deal because you're celebrating love. But it's only one day. I recommend you spend more time preparing for your lifetime together, right? Preparing for your lifetime together. So speaking of preparing, for those of you that do not have that special someone yet, but you are looking to attract love into your life, my Love Attraction Mastery membership. I have started a membership community for those that really want to hone in and get these results, right? You want to go into the new year, you want to date for New Year's, right? You want to have a date for Valentine's next year. We're going to get started. So enrollment begins tomorrow. So go to destinationdeanna.com to enroll. And unfortunately, but fortunately for me, my wait list, those that got on my wait list and got the early bird pricing, they already snagged my VIP slots. I only have 2 left. So if you want VIP treatment, you want one-on-ones with me and the opportunity to come and have a VIP day in Dallas and hang out with me and do all the self-love stuff that I have and leave with a plan for you to carry out to attract your love, you want to go ahead and snag one of those VIP slots. So yes, and we are pushing for 10,000 subscribers on YouTube before my birthday. My birthday is Sunday, so if you are not subscribed on YouTube, Destination Deanna, please do that and make sure that you are sharing the channel. Share it everywhere. Share it on your pages. Share it in your email. Let people know what we're doing over here on Destination Deanna. We are doing everything to prepare you for love and to experience love at a greater level. So every Monday, I'll be here 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we'll be discussing an interactive lesson and discussion. So set your reminders, tell a few friends. I am going to be traveling, but I will be back home for my live on Monday. So no worries about that. But come on, 10K before my birthday. Say it with me, 10K before my birthday. I see a couple comments came in. Let me make sure I don't leave nobody out. Oh, Charles, thank you so much. Yes, we love you guys. We can't wait to come hang out with you and your wife. Yes, baby. Dope segment. Thanks, bro. I appreciate you, especially all my people from the Love Attraction community. If you're not in that community, you are missing out. It's free. We talk about all things love. We have discussions. We support each other, but we call each other out and hold everybody accountable. Yes, I'll be in Vegas for my birthday. 10K by my birthday. Thank you so much. You're welcome. All right, guys, remember that God is love. We are of God. So attracting love should be easy, especially when you have me as your guide. I love you all. See you next week. Oh, mom, I had to put it on the screen. My mom calls me Dee Dee, y'all. Thanks, mommy. I'll call you as soon as we hang up. All right, bye, everybody. Love you.